You read in this morning's paper a pretty good summary of that question, and that is that basically for a number of years the Valley has been neglected in presidential campaigns, mostly because there's been no reason to come here. Now, because, especially for Republican candidates, because of the weight of the vote in Los Angeles County and in the Bay Area counties, and the coastal counties now. The coastal counties have gone liberal. It's up to the conservative voters in the San Joaquin Valley, from Kern County to Sacramento County, and from San Luis Obispo County over across 395. It's up to that block of voters to offset the heavy Democrat vote and the heavy liberal vote in those other counties or the other part of the state. So if candidates don't come here, if people don't know who they are and what they have to say, then they're not going to vote for them. In our party, we have 3 major contenders and soon to be 4. If you look at the early primary state polling, the primary state pollings, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Romney's leading in all those states. If you look at national polling, Giuliani is leading nationwide. California is more likely to mirror what happens nationally than what happens in those early primary states. So Giuliani coming here at this particular time, this early, and promising to come back and spend more time on the ground, I think you will see that he sees the significance, or at least the people around him see the significance of the Valley vote. It was nothing unusual. This was a typical early campaign stop in a community that has in the past been very generous to candidates, especially Republican candidates. The gal who was in charge of organizing this on behalf of the Duartes had, I would say, at least 55 people out there. There were a number of people that came and left early and some people who came late. So it's hard to judge, but if you look at, I counted the number of tables, the number of chairs at the table, and I came up with 55. So, I might be right and I might be wrong, but I figure about 55 people there. They were there to hear what he had to say. I thought, as county chairman, okay, as Republican county chairman, I am not allowed to declare a preference until the primary is over. And my candidate will be whoever the people of California decide the Republican candidate will be. So I come to this event with no candidate in mind. But I have to tell you, I was impressed with the guy. I've seen him on TV a couple of times, and you see people all the time on TV, and you just stop listening after a while. Well, this is a small group and a friendly group, and he did something that you don't normally see candidates do. He arrived early and stayed late. Very often they arrive late and leave early. He did just the opposite. That's the first thing that got my attention. The second thing that got my attention is he spoke for 30 minutes and did not mention immigration, which is the one issue that I have found in Republican groups gets a visceral response. So I asked him a question about immigration when the question and answer period start. I asked him to tell us what he liked and what he didn't like about the legislation that was in the Senate last week. And he told us that we don't need it. that everything that needs to be done can be done with current law, and that this particular piece of legislation would undo some other pieces, previous legislation, that would be more beneficial to the issue than the way it's being addressed in this bill. So as president, he would not sign it and he would not advocate for it. And that is basically the position of most of the Republicans in this valley. The farming community wants some kind of a worker program, and I expect that eventually there will be one. But mostly Republicans are concerned about the security issue. The other thing that impressed me about him, and it will not help him in this race, I don't believe, and that is that he is very articulate on a series of issues that are very important to Republican voters. The problem is, in a campaign, you get about 30 seconds to explain your position, and it takes him 10 minutes. So he's going to have to figure, presidential elections should not be about bumper sticker slogans. They should not. They should be about debates and forums where people have an opportunity, candidates have an opportunity to fully develop their issues and to make it plain to those Americans who are going to vote what their stand is, rather than some innocuous or nebulous phrase that means different things to different people depending on which ear you're listening with. So those were the three things that caught my attention about him, other than the fact that he's a good-looking guy. And he's Italian. My maiden name ended in a vowel. I can relate to that.